another episode of the Steelers Q&A. My name is Jeremy Betts, here Saturday night live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I believe Instagram as well, actually. Maybe not. Maybe I should know where I'm going live at. I don't know. Thank you all for tuning in to this live show. If you missed the live episode of the Q&A, you can always tune in wherever you get your podcasts. But we've got some of the regulars in already. You guys are ready and waiting every time we hop in here. It's just me tonight. So you get a full dose of bets after the Thursday night Steelers performance ahead of a Sunday slate that we do not get to see the Pittsburgh Steelers be a part of. And moving on in a season that is just full throttle here for the Pittsburgh Steelers from now until the end of the season. We've gotten through, if you're a Steelers fan, the part of the schedule where we were like, this is the easy part, right? You look at the the teams, the lineup of games, and those first five matchups probably, right? And even this Bengals one, we thought at the beginning of the season was going to be a difficult one. It turns out you lose that one, so that all kind of holds true in the end. But it shouldn't have been as difficult, right, as it was. No Joe Burrow. They didn't even have Henderson in this game, so there were some things that probably should have led to the Steelers winning their Thursday night football game this week, but they did not do so. They lose to the Cincinnati Bengals, 33-31. Close ball game, obviously, but you lose on a last-second field goal in a game where your defense just totally wet the bed. I mean, completely wet the bed, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a few minutes. But going back to what I was trying to say is, like, this was the part of the schedule where you're like, get off to a fast start. The Steelers did that. They went 3-1 before the Bengals game, or I'm sorry, 4-1 before the Bengals game, and then the next stretch of games you're looking at was going to be that Bengals game, which you lose. But now you've got Packers, Colts, Chargers, and I believe Bears all in a row. And I mean that's not easy. Or no, you got Bengals and then the Bears. So that's a tough portion of the schedule to have to go into. So the Pittsburgh Steelers enter the portion of the season where I was very much of the opinion that they would kind of get their feet wet in those first 4 or 5 games. And after that, they'd be trying to establish a little bit more of who they are. Now, I'll say this. They aren't who I thought they were, to a degree. They are very much a team that is they have an identity, but right now that identity is not what we thought it was going to be. I mean, just being honest, there isn't anyone who would have expected this defense to be the way it is. And even if we had to look at the offense and exercise like a best case scenario, I think this is kind of what we would have envisioned, where they're getting yards after the catch. The run game is working. The team, Aaron Rodgers is divvying the ball well to the playmakers on the team. The offensive line is starting to click, and all that is happening on the offensive side of the ball. And it's kind of what we were like, hey, best case scenario, this is what we're going to get. But then you go to the defensive side and you're like, because if that happens, then the Steelers are going to be an elite team, because the defense, we know what the defense is. Well, turns out we don't know what this defense is. They haven't been good. They've been good for stretches against bad teams, bad quarterbacks. But in big moments, like on Thursday night, it was bad. It was really bad from the defense. They have set the team back as a whole because the defense is not ready to compete at the level that we're used to them competing. And that's a shocker to me. Maybe it's not to you, definitely is to me. And I don't know how the Steelers remedy this. Robert Smith says, this defense is too loaded to be this bad. What is the problem? I feel like with any other coach, they would be phenomenal. Am I wrong? Robert, I don't think it's coaching. I sincerely don't. And I am not one to not criticize coaching. I will criticize the coaching when I think it's bad, not to par, a reason why the Steelers are struggling. I don't think it was. I don't think it was coaching. You look at the game on Thursday. You look at some of the stuff that's happened to start the season where the defense has struggled, and I think it's personnel, not. I guess not living up in man coverage type situations, in like coverage specifically on the back end. Those guys are not living up to the expectation that we had for them. It just hasn't been good. Jalen Ramsey in press man coverage has been beatable. Darius Slay, it, if you're working vertically on him, he's getting beat. Joey Porter Jr. is handsy and grabby, and can't, his technique isn't great still. So there are some issues in the secondary specifically that the Steelers thought that maybe personnel wise they would have taken care of with who they added. It hasn't worked. So I think they do need to reevaluate some schematics to play better, to put the guys in a little bit better position to succeed. But I do think overall the issue has been with the players on the field. My take on Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh is that the Bengals wide receivers outplayed the Steelers corners, and that is all that happened in that game. Afton says the D line sucked too. What caused that? The D line was fine. I thought. They got beat on one big run, one or two big runs, and other than that, they were fine. Um, the pass rush. Jared Devil says the pass rush was in slow motion. Joe Flacco got the ball out in 2.3 seconds overall that night. I mean, what do you want from the pass rush? Pass rush takes 2.5 seconds usually. Even a good pass rush takes about 2.5 seconds to be effective. You've got to be able to cover guys longer than what the Steelers were doing. And Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins were just destroying the Steelers quick. Just quick game stuff. And then on the rare occasion where the coverage was better there, that's when the pass rush didn't quite meet its goal. It was just bad team defense overall. They did not complement each other well. In fact, when one part was on, the other part was off, and it just did not complement itself at all. And then, but I still think like the guys that you wanted to play well played pretty well. Up front, anyway. Cam Hayward was good. Keanu Benton was pretty good in the game. The pass rushers, the edge rushers, Alex Highsmith, this might have been his worst game of the season in my opinion, but I don't know. It was so bad in the back end that I don't think that the front end stood much chance, and I think that is where it starts. So Robert Smith says the Bengals' 31st or 32nd rush offense ran right through us, literally 7 yards of carry. Yeah, they did. They did do that. But it was because they were getting absolutely pelted on the back end throughout the whole game. Mike Tomlin said at halftime that this was about them not being able to stop the run. I totally disagree with that. The run game is the thing you say, beat us this way. If you're going to beat us with the run game, with your run game that sucks, then fine. But Ja'Marr Chase isn't going to beat us. T. Higgins isn't going to beat us. Joe Flacco's not going to beat us. And that is exactly what the Steelers did. So I'm sorry, I just can't get on board with that the front was as bad as people are saying it is. 23 carries, 142 yards, a 14.82 average per carry on the game. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, guys. It didn't feel that bad because they were getting absolutely gashed. Oh, that's not right. 14.82. That's just not right. Oh, that's addition. Come on. This tracker on NFL.com is terrible. It wasn't 14.82 yards per carry as a team. That's stupid. They just added it all together. That's dumb. It was like 7 yards a carry. You're right. So no, I I'm not gonna sit here and blame the front. I'm not. Not when you gave up 342 yards passing to this team, where their fifth guy who caught passes has -8 yards. Two guys at or over 100. Three receiving touchdowns, 23 targets, 16 receptions to Jamar Chase. I mean, that's the ball game right there. You stop Jamar Chase, and this never happens. I don't care how good the run game was happening at spurts, and it wouldn't have been that good if they weren't throwing all over us. So I'm sorry, I can't get on board with the Steelers defense being, or the Steelers defensive line, I should say, being the reason that they lost this game. It was the connection: Joe Flacco, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. That's it. That's it. The Steelers can survive giving up 7 yards a carry if they do not let those two guys beat them. And I guarantee you it's not 7 yards per carry if those two guys aren't absolutely destroying them on the back end. So they've got to figure out the secondary. They've got to figure out if it is game plan stuff that I'm not aware of, then then you know they need to upgrade that. But I think it's a lot on the players. Poor execution, poor communication on the final scoring drive, the field goal drive. The coverage bust by Chuck Clark was inexcusable. Just absolutely inexcusable. He's supposed to carry the crosser with Jamar Chase, and he just let it go in favor of a tight end, of all things. He and Patrick Queen had double coverage on a tight end when Clark was supposed to roll over with Jamar Chase. If anything, both guys should have been on Chase, and maybe the tight end beats you, and you say, oh, well, the tight end beat us, not Jamar Chase. But, I mean, it's just annoying. It's annoying, guys. It is. But I said this from the beginning of the season. Before the season started, I said, that one, Thursday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals, that's a loss. It always is. 0-6 going into this game on Thursday Night Football against a division rival on the road. 0-7 after this game. As predictable as anything. And I mean, I'll sit here and say what's just as predictable is that the Steelers will probably go into Acrisure Stadium on Sunday night and beat the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers get a dead-in-the-water Arizona Cardinals team this week. They're going to wallop the Cardinals this week, probably. And then they're going to walk into Acrisure Stadium as a 4.5-point favorite. Everybody's going to pick the Packers on the little bubble screen. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win that game by 3. And the defense is going to be fine. And the offense will continue to do what the offense does. Again, I just that's how the Steelers are, you guys. It's how they are every year. It looks a little different this year. It does. I'll admit that, because the defense isn't playing well and the offense is. Usually it's the other way around. So I'm not excusing the loss, but it was definitely one that I saw coming. So Mark Cunningham says that was brutal, JB, brutal. It was brutal on defense. It was. But can we talk about for a second how good the offense has been the last few weeks? And you can sit and say that the competition hasn't been great between like the teams that they played over the last few weeks, but the Steelers' offense was efficient and explosive against two very good defenses in the past 3 games that they've played. Cleveland, very good defense. Their record is what it is. Their offense sucks. Their quarterback situation is horrible. Their defense is good. The Steelers marched up and down the field on that defense, especially in the second half. The Vikings, the Steelers dominated the first 3.5 quarters of that game on offense and defense. And then you come into a game against the Cincinnati Bengals team that you should absolutely put up 30-plus points on every time, and the Steelers did it with ease. If it weren't for penalties and a stupid downfield interception throw by Rodgers, and then the wacky takeaway on the DK Metcalf thing, the offense probably scores on every drive. I mean, if they just do what they do in the run game and kind of taking what's there throughout the game, they probably score on every drive. They could have scored 40 in this game easy if the without the boo boos, without the turnovers, right? The defense was bad, yes. No excuse for the defense. I'm not excusing that, but I'm looking at this game as like I expected this to be a loss. I don't care who the quarterback is. They lost to Cleveland the last three times in a row, 3 years in a row on that they've played them on the road on Thursday Night Football. Cleveland, okay? They were always going to lose to Cincinnati, so doesn't have me as pissed as it does you guys, obviously. So, or a lot of you guys. But takeaway, my big takeaway, the offense is I'm not going to say like incredible as in oh no, they're the new Ravens, they're the new Bills, they're the new Lions, whatever. Not that, but compared to my expectations, this has been insanely good. So incredible. So incredible this offense to watch the chemistry that they have. Aaron Rodgers back there absolutely dealing, guys. It's been awesome. I don't know how you can't leave this game psyched about the offense and kind of just understanding that this was always going to go this way. The rest of the season, this is going to be a blip on the radar over the course of the rest of the season. So, I would like to take a look at where the Steelers kind of land in the rest of the AFC. Excuse me. I'd like to take a look at the rest of the schedule a little bit in here, and I do want to answer your questions. So, more questions in here in the chat. I'd love to get to them. We'll talk some comments and stuff as well, but we're going to take our audio only break here at this time. So stay tuned. The Steelers Q&A will be right back after this. All right, welcome back to the Steelers Q&A. It's Jeremy Betts here from my kitchen, right? You got to do what you got to do when you're remodeling a house and when you've got extra people in it and the place is crazy, right? So we're podcasting from the kitchen tonight. So this is my fridge. Say hi, fridge. Sorry, I have to make light of it because it gets overwhelming at times. It really does. So, all right, let's get into this. Okay, we got a question from Mark Cunningham. Big picture thought: what team out there doesn't have warts in the AFC? Is Indy really this good? Excellent question, and this is where I wanted to take this. Absolutely, absolutely perfect question for where I wanted to take this, and why I'm not so concerned about the loss. As frustrating and annoying as it is on Thursday Night Football to lose to the Bengals and drop to 4-2 when you could have gone to 5-1. Hey, Jamie Carlo with a fridge shout out. Let's go. Let's go, fridge. Absolutely. This team's place in the AFC is just fine. And even if they had gone to 5-1, this does probably even out with the Ravens to a degree over the course of the rest of the regular season. I'm not saying the Ravens catch up completely. 1-5 is a huge hole to crawl out of, but it does probably even out complete or at some point over the course of the season. And yeah, can the Colts continue to win every game like they have and continue to be as highly efficient as they are on offense? Can they continue to cover up for a defense that is opportunistic but not very good, really? I mean, they just beat the Arizona Cardinals by 3 points this last week. The Arizona Cardinals without Kyler Murray. So the Chargers are banged up. Everybody else is banged up in the AFC. So I just don't think that this loss, big picture wise, is going to do anything other than be an annoying blip on our radar. And that's just, in my opinion, a fact. I put out earlier on Twitter, I think yesterday maybe, I said bookmark this, and I listed out the next, I think, 5 games for the Steelers. I have them beating the Packers, and them losing to the Colts because they just lose to Shane Steichen and the Colts. This is at home though in Pittsburgh, feels a little bit different. Maybe, hopefully they can pull out something here. Um, if that would be great. They always, I say always, they seemingly always travel well to LA to play the Chargers. They're 2-2 over there against the Chargers though since the Chargers moved to LA. So I guess it hasn't always equated in wins, but it's going to feel like a home game. Uh, the fans are going to be there, right? And then you get the rematch against the Bengals in Pittsburgh. Three of your next four games are at home. I think you probably win three of the next four games. I really do. And then you've got Bears and Bills after that. And I said maybe I think they'll beat the Bears because Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears, and Aaron Rodgers tearing through the NFC North feels like a fun, great thing to happen here. And then probably lose to the Bills because the Bills are really good, right? They're one of those clear AFC favorite teams. But anything can happen over the stretch. So that's just my takeaway on it, my prediction on it. But I'd love to hear your guys' as well, if you have them in the chat. So let's get to another question, though. John S., do you like Aaron Rodgers yelling at the offense? Ooh, sorry. I think it's a tough love scenario that will benefit these players, even if they don't love it in the moment. I'm totally fine with it. I was talking to my mom during the game, and she was like, I can't believe he's yelling at Jaylen Warren like that. And she was so upset that he seems to be a jerk, is what she called him on the field. I mean, I don't mind it at all. It's accountability for these guys. It's expecting perfection of these guys. And they haven't had somebody who's been willing to or able to do that for a long time. A long time. Even Ben was like, he was more like a, come on, let's go type guy. Not a in your face, what the heck are you doing? This is stupid. Don't ever do that again on my football team type stuff, right? With a lot more heavy language that I just had in there. I don't mind it at all. So, John, I kind of agree with you. It's tough love. I think that it's fine. Also, like, yeah, Broderick Jones, don't jump on the guy's back. He's 41 years old, and you weigh 320 pounds. What are you doing? He had every right to be like, get off my back. Broderick, don't you ever do that again, man. I don't care if we just scored a touchdown. So, I like it. I like it. Kathy Ford feels for me on my remodel. I appreciate it, Kathy. I really do. It's not always fun. It's really not. Robert Smith says, I haven't been this excited about the offense since Ben at his peak. I agree. I totally agree. I haven't either. I mean, except for like preseason Kenny Pickett. Maybe that was it. But there was always the, Matt Canada's still here. I don't know about, is Kenny Pickett actually the real deal? But this is the most excited I've been about this offense in a long time. They have an identity. They really do. Run the rock and yak it up. And that's what they're doing. And they do it well. They really do. It doesn't come and go. It's here. So I love it. George Pactaman says, if we play a good quarterback, our defense is going to look the same. That is why we haven't won a playoff game in a long time. That is valid. I mean, they've made some good quarterbacks look pedestrian at times in the right environment. If the pass rush is like absolutely just chomping guys, like destroying offensive lines. So I do kind of agree with that, George, but I will say this, like, maybe in hindsight, the Bengals situation was uniquely suited to take advantage of the Steelers' biggest strengths, which is like man up against the best receivers in football. And let's look at the schedule. You just had the Bengals, right? Packers, they don't have any world beaters at wide receiver. And their offensive line can come and go, and Jordan Love likes to hold on to the football. That's a great matchup for Pittsburgh. Jordan Love doesn't like to play on time. He doesn't like to play within like a 2.5 seconds or less, get the ball out structure. Maybe they'll game plan that way. But if the Steelers can stop Josh Jacobs in the run game, it's priority number one, then you can get after Jordan Love. You can. He's going to sit back there and let the plays unfold and then try to push the ball down the field. Good matchup for Pittsburgh. I really think so. And Darnell Washington has proven he can help mitigate elite pass rushers on the edge. So that's part of why I like that matchup. The Colts game. Who's their world beating receiver? Nobody really. And Daniel Jones, I mean, he's been really good this year. I think Shane Steichen really knows how to attack the Steelers' love of cover three. And maybe he'll take advantage of that again, like he did last year with Flacco, of all people again. But yeah, it's you don't have world-beating wide receivers that are going to just charge down the throats of your corners. The Chargers, they might be the next best suited team on the outside. Lad McConkey gets open. It's tough to cover man to man because he's so quick. Keenan Allen is the best man coverage route runner ever, probably. Maybe one of the best ever. Separators. And then you got to hang on down the field with Quentin Johnston. But again, that offensive line is all banged up. And maybe you get after that quarterback who likes to sit back there and make plays. Then you got the Bengals again. You got to deal with those receivers again. The Bears, they've got a tough receiving crew, but it's not world beaters again. And then it's the Bills. You just got to beat that quarterback and that offensive line and stop the run. They don't have a world beating wide receiver there either. So I'm just saying that the Bengals probably more suited to the type of offense that we saw and the type of struggles that we got from the defense. So let's see. Just trying to find some more questions here. Okay, let's see. Okay, Mark Cunningham says we're going to beat the Packers for AR, for Aaron Rodgers, and beat the Colts for a payback at home. I like the thought. I hope it happens. Absolutely. Absolutely. Afton says players need other players to hold them accountable. I wish Cam did it more. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a quieter one, like off the field, but I see him get pretty upset on the field. So, but yeah, I mean, Afton, you're absolutely right. She asked, was it Pouncey who would grab a guy by the face mask and ask what WTH they were doing? Yeah, he would. He absolutely would. I remember the way he would get in people's faces. That offensive line was like, they took a lot of the leadership onus off of Ben Roethlisberger because, he was never that style of quarterback, but those guys were good. Robert Smith. Patriots beat the Bills. Steelers beat the Patriots. Ergo, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Mark Cunningham, JB or fellow chat, I think AR said that Warren pitched the ball back to him, but the play was not a flea flicker. Can anyone confirm? Here's what I think it was, because Aaron Rodgers said it was a called flea flicker, and Mike Tomlin says it was not. So, or no, Mike Tomlin said it was a called flea flicker. Aaron Rodgers says it was not. Here's why. The play call in was the flea flicker with a check out of it. And Rodgers checked out of it at the line of scrimmage. Warren didn't catch it. Warren flicked it back to him, and there was nowhere to go with the football. Rodgers immediately scrambles out to the right and then dirt balls it, right? And then yells at Warren. The play call that came in was probably for the flea flicker. But Rodgers said, no, in the end, it was not a called flea flicker. It was called a kill, run the ball, and Jaylen Warren didn't get it. So that was my take on the play. I'm pretty certain that is how to consider that. George Pactman, I don't consider Love a superior quarterback. I do because of the types of throws he's willing to make and that he completes. Can he be had because he is willing to take more chances and because he wants to hang on to the ball a little bit longer? Yes. But I think he's up there close to the top 10. So I consider that pretty much an elite quarterback. So let's see here. Afton says 80 was a big. Oh, that's the wrong one. 80 was a big part of our run game. Yes, he was. He will continue to be a huge part of this offense, and for good reason. He's the guy that unlocks what you want to do. I've said that. I thought he would unlock Matt Canada's offense because of this two-way ability here. And three-way ability. Let's put it that way. Three-way ability. Run game blocking, pass protection, how he helps out there, and the receiving game. Like he's the ultimate Swiss Army knife on offense, and they're finally using him that way. And I could not be more giddy about that, you guys. I could not. I've been calling for it for years. I have. Um, George Pacman, the Colts head coach, always outcoaches us. Yeah, he kind of gets the better of Tomlin's base schemes with the way he likes to do things. But again, that's a quarterback who likes to hold on to the ball too. So maybe the Steelers can get after him and make that uncomfortable. Um, Mark Cunningham, the Colts have a bunch of nice wide receivers. Check them out. They do have a bunch of nice wide receivers. They do. Michael Pittman's good. Josh Downs can beat you. Alec Pierce on the outside is really good. They, oh boy, I almost said they need no endorsement from me. I almost pulled a full Mike Tomlin here, but I will say this: they're not Jamar Chase. None of them can be mistaken for a top 3 wide receiver in the league. Or let me put it this way: none of them could be mistaken for a top 15 wide receiver in the league, let alone a top 3 wide receiver in the league. So that's the difference to me. And I mean, T. Higgins would be the number 1 on the Colts. So that's my take on that one. But okay. Okay. Robert Smith, here's a question: is it overlooking for a wide receiver to? Let me know if they're supposed to. If there's more to that, Robert. Like, if the Steelers maybe are going out to get a wide receiver, if that's what you're saying here, I do think that that's a possibility. I'm writing an article. It should be out, I think, tomorrow or Monday. With game days being all tomorrow for most teams. But I think that Calvin Ridley would be a fantastic wide receiver too for this team. He's only getting paid $20 million a year, and it's not fully guaranteed. There was an out after this year for the Titans already, so they'd probably be willing to trade him for not top dollar, right? So they can help reset Cam Ward and reset that offense next year. And I like him even better than I like Jacoby Myers. I love the way he plays football. I love his route running ability. And I tweeted that out earlier today as well. So that would be dream scenario there, is that the Steelers could get Calvin Ridley opposite DK Metcalf to complement this room. So if that's what you're asking, Robert. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Is it over looking for a wide receiver too? No, it's not. It's the Steelers aren't over doing that. It's going to happen. I think. I would, if I had to bet on it right now, I'd say the Steelers add a receiver before the trade deadline. I think they do. If they'd have won on Thursday night, I think they would have done it like in this mini bye before the Packers game. They might still, but I wonder if they wait till the trade deadline now to do that to maximize their value, right? We'll see. Mark Cunningham asks, Love is pretty darn good, or says, Love is pretty darn good, but he's going to be under fire next week. I'm worried about Jacobs. I'm worried about Jacobs too, to a degree, but I think the Steelers will key in on the run here. Like, I think they're going to determine that is the game plan, is like shut down Josh Jacobs first so that they can't build the play action stuff off of that, and then you make them one-dimensional and you make Jordan Love sit back there in the pocket, and he's going to want to take big shots and everything, and that's how you get after him. So shut down the run, focus on it, shut down Josh Jacobs, and you probably win that game. Afton asks, did you think of our penalties? I thought several of them were bogus. Like, I thought the DPI on the touchdown to Jamar Chase, I thought he clearly pushed off there. And I thought that the other touchdown on third and goal, where they ran the pick play, I thought that that was offensive pass interference on Higgins. I think it was that clearly ran into the corner. So I think the Steelers got screwed a little bit both ways. I really do. And maybe it's just because I was so frustrated about the game overall, but I don't remember anything going against Cincinnati that I was like, that was sketchy. And I don't remember much in the way of penalties other than those two, the call and then the non-call. The hold on Frazier was probably, enough to be called. Probably enough to call that. So I don't know. That it was tough. But I think the Steelers over the last 2 weeks have been called a lot more on penalties that were maybe not necessary. So, all right, let's see here. Swan Investing. If the Steelers D can't make Love move off his primary target, it's going to be another long night. This is true. Although Jordan Love, I hesitate to say he doesn't have a primary target because I'm sure the route combination has a primary target. But if the primary target is open, he sometimes hesitates on it and checks the big play target to see if that's there, right? So you got to be on your P's and Q's down the field before he comes back and actually makes a throw to the primary target. If he decides all of a sudden that he's going to be a rhythm quarterback, the Steelers are in trouble. And I think the Steelers are in big trouble against like Detroit, a real rhythm passing game there. They might be in trouble against the Bears for that reason too. But Caleb Williams still does a lot of the freelance stuff that might get him in trouble. We'll see. Afton says, "What about 66 on the tush push?" It was clearly a false start. But like, if you're not going to call that stuff against the Eagles, don't call it on the Steelers. That's my take on it. And honestly, the play should probably be banned because you can't if nobody's doing it legally. The Eagles least wise of all. So, and by the way, if I hear another Eagles fan complain about anything tush push related on Twitter, I'm going to come through my phone and destroy somebody. George Pacman says A-Rod is going to beat Love and should be able to outduel the Colts. See, this is new, right? Maybe you have the offense that can go toe to toe with some of these teams, but you still need the defense to make some kind of plays. They can't be as reliant on splash against some of these teams that are better and know how to take care of the football. Maybe that's the thing that is the difference. Like quarterbacks who are willing and able to take care of the football, those are the guys that good quarterbacks who can take advantage of what your defense's weaknesses and who take care of the football, don't make bad choices. Those are the guys who can get the Steelers in trouble because they rely so much on mistakes and takeaways to create some of that splash. So that is something to consider there as well. All right. Hey, great conversation. A lot of fun talking about this game that was and the Steelers' remaining schedule. I mean, the title here that I typed up is just that this is the Steelers that we know and love. It is. There's some differences. Obviously, we highlighted those. The offense is better. The defense is worse. Usually, it's the other way around, right? But the defense used to struggle still in big games against big time teams, but we never had the offense to be able to keep it close anyway. Now you do. So if the Steelers figure out anything on the defensive side of the ball, they could still be dangerous. I'm very, very bullish on them staying in this race all the way into January. I think they're a playoff team. Even if the defense isn't the locked and loaded top 8 to 10 unit that we're used to. So, all right. Oh, you know what? I have to bring this up because it's absolutely true. I just saw this as well. Chase caught another slant pass during this podcast. LOL. Yeah, he's going to be doing that until after they play them in 4 weeks again. So it's just the way it's going to be. It was so bad, so bad. Good one there, Swanee. Good one. All right, love you all. Thank you so much for hopping into this episode. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to tell your friends about it. We're growing all the time, but we need your help to continue growing. If you are a regular listener, watcher of this, and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Let's do it. Subscribe, everybody. And then if you like this content and you want more, please go to my new YouTube channel, Betts Talks Ball, and check that out. Okay. You know what? I'll put the link. Never mind. I don't have time for that. So appreciate it, guys. But yeah, follow me on YouTube, Betts Talks Ball. Follow the Steel Curtain Network here on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts as well. We have this and more every day, 3 to 4 shows every day for you on Steel Curtain Network. Articles on steelcurtainnetwork.com, and be sure to give me a follow on X at the Betts93. Thank you all for everything. Without you, this is not possible. And I hope you have a great Sunday watching football tomorrow, and enjoy the mini bye before the Steelers. We get a primetime again Sunday night in Pittsburgh against the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers revenge game. The narratives are going to be out the wazoo. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk to you next time here on the Steelers Q&A.
Riding on cloud.